Hi everyone, it's Megan. It's been a crazy few weeks, right? It's end of March, beginning of April right now when I'm recording this, and we've been stuck inside now for about a month. And for some of you, I know this means like unlimited crafting time. If you're working from home or if your job is closed, then maybe you're having like a whirlwind romance with your sewing machine. But for me, my kids are at home, and that means that I am with them because they can't really be left unsupervised at this point. So I have really seen my crafting time cut down. When they are in school, I spend my day working on new patterns, working on videos for you guys, and making my show quilts. But with my kids home all the time, I'm really limited to just a little bit of time in the evening and on the weekends to sew. So I thought I'd share with you a few things that you can still do without your machine to kind of keep your quilty, crafty life going. First is English paper piecing or hand piecing. If you haven't ever tried this, then it can be a really nice way to do quilting, do some handwork, but the supplies are really minimal and you can do it all kind of on your couch without a machine, and it can be really satisfying. I have been working on this EPP plus quilt. English paper piecing is what EPP is. I have been working on this English paper pieced plus quilt for about 3 years now. I don't work on it often. I love it, but when I have access to a machine, I kind of prefer the speed and ease of machine piecing to hand piecing. So it's getting a lot of attention though the last couple weeks. Other than English paper piecing, there's also just traditional hand piecing. I don't have a lot of experience in this, but it's something that I'm definitely going to try now that I have all of this free time on my hands. Another thing you can do is attach labels to your quilts. If you have a lot of quilts laying around that haven't had labels attached to them, this can be a great time to do that because it really is a must to attach a label by hand if you have already quilted it. If you are just working on like a back that you want to attach a label to and then quilt over the label, then obviously you can do that by machine. But if your quilt has already been quilted, then attaching a label is best done by hand. It's just a really nice touch for a quilt. And the second part of this is you can hand embroider a label. I've done this for a few quilts. It's really satisfying. It's this really beautiful handmade touch to a quilt. Although it does take a little bit of time, it obviously is something you can do on the couch with minimal supplies, kind of while your kids are around you or while you're watching TV or relaxing. Speaking of handwork, you can also catch up on your binding. If you have quilts that are ready to be bound and you're usually a machine binder, this is a great time to try hand binding. It's not hard. You already have all the supplies, and if your time at your machine is really limited, then why not try hand binding? Maybe you will love it. This might also be a great time to try hand quilting. I have hand quilted exactly one quilt and it took me quite a long time. It took me about a year because I only worked on it kind of sporadically, but I kind of have the itch to do it again. I find it really soothing. I use Aurifil 12 weight thread and a big needle for like a big stitch hand quilting look. It doesn't take as much time as like a very traditional hand quilting where you're making those teeny tiny little stitches with like the really short needle. I use like the big needle, big thread to make it go a little bit faster. But it is relaxing and it's something that you can definitely do on the couch. And bonus, you get to like snuggle under the quilt while you're working on it. This might also be a good time to take a video class. There are online sources for quilting classes. I know Craftsy/Blueprint. There's a lot of DVD recorded classes available from American Quilter Society, the people who run Quilt Week. I'm sure there are other sources. There's also obviously YouTube videos. So learn a new skill or take a little class on improv quilting if you've never tried it, or how to sew curves if you've never sewn a curve before. It's obviously gonna not be as great as if you were like doing a hands-on class, or if you could sit in front of your machine while you were watching, but familiarizing yourself with just the process, or seeing if it's something you're even interested in pursuing, might be worth your time. Another thing is to try your hand at quilt design. You can start as simple as some graph paper and some colored pencils. If you have EQ8, it comes with a library of blocks. You can start there. You can design your own blocks. Designing a quilt isn't hard. It does involve a little bit of math. If you have some software, it will do some of the job for you. I remember before I bought EQ8, I wasn't exactly sure what it would do. And basically, if you design a block in EQ8, it will give you cutting instructions for that block. Like you need, like if I was designing a 9 patch, if I drew out a 9 patch, it would say you need 9 3-inch by 3-inch blocks, and it includes the seam allowance, but it doesn't generate any cutting schematics. So if you want to design a quilt and use fat quarters, then you will need to figure out how to cut all the pieces you need out of a fat quarter. So that's really the only place where EQ8 doesn't include all of the information you need to design a quilt. So no cutting diagrams and no assembly instructions. So there's EQ8, there's pre-quilt. You can also just use like Adobe Illustrator if you're familiar with that software, but honestly, most of my initial sketches are just on paper or on my iPad, because that's where I do most of my drawing. Speaking of drawing, this is a great time to practice your free motion quilting doodles. I am a big advocate of doodling when it comes to learning free motion quilting. I feel like it really solidifies like a little bit of muscle memory. It teaches you how to think about where you need to quilt next. So if you're doing a meander pattern and you have kind of a square to work in, if you're kind of quilting along, even just doodling will teach you like how to work into the corner, how to work back, and how to kind of end up where you want to be on that square to start the next square. So I think doodling can accomplish a lot. It's also a great place to start when you want to learn a new design. Like if you've never quilted feathers before, then drawing feathers is a great first step, and it will teach you the basics before you move to fabric and thread, which are, you know, more resource intensive and take more time, more money. Like even if you just want to practice a feather or another free motion quilting design, you still need to make like a whole batting sandwich. And even if you're working with scraps to put these things together, then it's still an investment in resources. Whereas if you're doodling, you can draw a lot on a piece of paper or like a cheap notebook pad. If you do have some quilts that you have designed yourself, then this might be a great time to enter a quilt show. I love making show quilts. I enter a lot of shows. I think it's really fun. I love getting the feedback. I have had quilts in QuiltCon the last 2 years and a couple of quilt weeks. I actually won a ribbon at QuiltCon this past year, and it was so much fun to see my quilt kind of hanging there and to get all the feedback from people and judges. So if you've never entered a quilt show, the process is basically there is an opening for quilts, and you go online, you upload a couple photos, a description of the quilt, and there's often a small fee to enter a juried show. But the process is really simple. You just need to take a couple pictures of your quilt and upload them. Now, the lead time is where you really need to kind of plan ahead. So for Quilt Week, the shows that are happening in Grand Rapids and Charleston happen in August and September, but the deadlines to enter your quilt for those shows is like the beginning of April. So there is quite a long lead time, because you won't hear if you got in for a couple months, and then you'll need to ship your quilt to them, and they'll need time to pick a winner and hang them all and do all of their end. So if you've ever wanted to enter a show, then definitely Google around. Maybe there's some local shows that are coming up. There's always the county fair. I always enter the county fair. It's so much fun. It's a lot of fun to see the local quilters. There's just kind of like a really fun kind of campy element to a local fair. I love seeing what the categories there are. There's always like, you know, embroidery and crochet and knitting and all of this handwork and woodworking, and it's a lot of fun to walk around and see what people are making in your little area of the world. Another thing you can do from home is have a virtual sew night or sew day with your guildmates. I've done this now a couple of times with my guild or sections of my guild, and it's a lot of fun. We were actually joking that our sew night that we just did was like our most productive sew night ever, because everyone was actually working instead of just kind of sitting there chatting like we usually do. But it was a lot of fun. If you do, some tips. I logged in from my iPad so that I could kind of move it around, put it right by my machine, instead of feeling like I was kind of locked into sitting right in front of my computer. You can also call in just using your phone and a phone number. If you're using Zoom, that's kind of the format I'm most familiar with now, but you can just call in and do the voice section. If you have like headphones that you can pair to your computer or iPad or phone or whatever, they will be super useful because you will be able to kind of hear the conversation that's going on over the noise of your own machine. And then if you want to join in, you can kind of unmute yourself and say hi to everybody. So if you have a pair of headphones laying around, then definitely make use of them. So the last suggestion I have, maybe a little controversial for a quilting a quilting video, is that it's okay to take a break from quilting. You are not required to be creative all the time. These are highly stressful times, and if quilting isn't making you happy, like if it's not a source of stress relief and joy for you, then it's okay to just kind of close that door for a little while. You could try a different craft. You could take up knitting or crochet or embroidery or paper craft or cooking or whatever does make you feel good during these times. It's okay to take a break from something. And maybe if you do try another craft like painting, you will learn something that you can bring back to quilting when you are ready to come back. But there are other things in the world. You could do a jigsaw puzzle with your family, or a board game, or plant a garden. If you don't know me, I am a big gardener. Obviously my channel is called Tiny Orchard Quilts, and I don't think I've ever talked about why on this channel before. I live in a small suburban yard. We have, I think it's like 1/4 of an acre, and a lot of that obviously is our house. But I have filled just about every available space with fruit trees and vegetable garden. So I have pear trees in the front yard, apple trees in the side yard. In the backyard I have peaches, plums, figs, cherries, and a ton of blackberries and raspberries and marionberries and strawberries. So in addition to that, I also plant a lot of vegetables every year. So if you have never planted a garden, then maybe this is a great time. You can order seeds online. I order mine from Baker Creek Seeds and Seed Savers Exchange. I will link both of those in the description below. They are both awesome sources for heirloom vegetables. So let's talk about the future of the channel real fast before we end. I obviously have spent a lot more time away from my craft room than I normally do. So I do have some videos that are already filmed and uploaded and in the queue. I have other videos that are about halfway done. I am working on a scrap quilt pattern right now. I have another quilt pattern for you guys that is almost done. I just need to sew the last little bit together. So I do have quite a few things still coming, but there might also be a few more kind of vloggy style what I'm working on right now that are obviously much easier to film. I can do them in my living room where I am right now. So I will continue to see you guys every Monday, and I hope you guys are staying safe and staying home and washing your hands and doing all those things that we're all supposed to do to stay safe through all this. And happy quilting, or happy othering if you are going to take a break from quilting.